Yo, what's up guys, it's ToshDeluxe here, and today I'm back with a brand new video. Today I want to talk about why I have been inactive for so long now. I think it has been like 4 weeks now, and I kind of want to apologize for being gone for that long. Although I've still been inactive on my Discord server, if anyone was wondering. The last few weeks just have been rough for me because of school and work. I went to a new school this year and things have changed a lot. A lot of homework, less spare time, and a bunch of projects I had to focus on first. The spare time I had left was used to play Fortnite, I guess, but that wasn't even that much. But apart from that, I didn't even upload anything after PK Industries. I just want to mention the fact that the inactivity has nothing to do with responding to this situation. The situation was the least of my worries. I mean, I didn't even care too much about it, but I still had the urge to reply to it, of course. So that's what I'm going to do today. And of course, we're back to responding to the accusations against me. Before I start with the video, I want to mention the fact that I've tried to keep it as professional as possible in my previous videos regarding the Devil Vortex situation, but I noticed that a majority of the people being part of this so-called exposing have been toxic to me off-screen, for instance on Twitter, even though they claim to keep this situation as professional as possible. And because of that, I may or may not mention his name specifically, but not in an attempt to send them any hate, of course, but to show everyone what they're actually doing instead. But this is just an additional side note to let you guys know. So let's start off with the video, and I'm going to respond to everything that has been mentioned in this final video, even points that have been mentioned in the previous video. But if you don't seem to like my response whatsoever, that's up to you. But I'm going to tell the honest truth about everything that's included in their video. So I personally want to start off with the fact that they said I made money off cheating.
This is about the fact that he has made money and subscribers out of cheating and lying to the community, something that we are not okay with, and other people shouldn't be okay with it either. It's been a long time, and we've decided that we are not going to accept this anymore.
First of all, this is false. I've grown my channel with different kind of content over the years, and directly saying this to an audience manipulates the fact that you think I got all of my subscribers and revenue from the videos you've mentioned in your video. Your video includes like 4 examples out of all my 2.4k videos. That doesn't make any sense. And even if you're saying it's only a portion of what I received, it still shouldn't matter because that's not what you care about. I'm assuming the only thing you guys care about is to possibly find anything that looks suspicious enough to be called out for. Because it seems like you guys have been digging into my videos back from 2016 till now.
When Tosh made a response video with nothing substantial other than the fact that he made assumptions, he became even more suspicious and uploaded a follow-up video, basically stating that Tosh never described the arrangement and number of the saws.
What do you mean with nothing substantial? I actually replied to your arguments and added additional points to back up my words. Only a part of my video was talking about how the majority of your video is made out of assumptions, because it is. You believe they were facts, and I made the response to explain why you were wrong on the statements you made. Your whole video was opinionated, and the majority didn't even understand what you were trying to say and where the numbers came from. I actually did explain the part with the saws, and I actually wrote additional information in the description of my video if necessary. All I did was not mentioning what they were specifically used for, because I didn't think it would matter so much to you if I gave my reasoning for it, because even if I did, would you believe anything I would say at this point? Because you don't even believe anything I said in my own video. I even said this in video, because how do you expect someone to defend himself on something he can't prove? Your whole video was made out of assumptions, so how do you expect me to give a proper answer to your assumption if I even can't provide any evidence to something that is incorrect? If I specifically mentioned in the video what the saws were used for, you would just disagree again, just like you did in your second video, because you can't know if I'm saying the truth or not.
And that if he was trying to use the saws to copy and paste later in the level, he would have just used the same exact saws located nearer to the gameplay.
No, I wouldn't, because the saws at the bottom were from Rustam himself, and you knew this because you personally asked Golden to DM Rustam about it. I never touched Rustam's objects at the bottom, and his purpose for using these objects was so he could modify the level. This has nothing to do with my saws at the top of the level, because obviously I kept his objects and mine apart from each other, because how can I know if Rustam still wants to modify anything? I can't, so I copy-pasted my own saws at the top of the level, because those were the majority of the objects I used to buff the level, and that's what they were used for. I casually just copied a bunch of saws to the top of the level so I could buff each section easily without having to go back to a certain part of the level to copy multiple saws. By putting those saws at the top, I could copy paste multiple objects at once and place them anywhere in the level without having to copy paste one by one. And even before Devil Vortex got buffed, which is done by me, it didn't have that many saws at all. The majority of the level consists of buffs using those saws from the top. The verification was also unplanned because you don't plan a verification. I also said this in my previous video. That's also why there's still an undecorated saw at the first wave part, because it wasn't fixed yet and the buffing objects were not removed either.
His response to this was to upload a video of himself doing 58 to 100 and 55 on Devil Vortex. This convinced a lot of people that he's legit, but it's been a year and a half. It's not about how skilled he is at Devil Vortex now, it's about completing Devil Vortex back then. It should be noted that many people can go from beating Stereo Madness to beating Deadlocked in a matter of a few months.
Alright, this is a funny one. This is incorrect because you're contradicting yourself here. Because getting progress on Devil Vortex is what I was asked to do, and that's what I did. I originally planned not to do it, but since multiple Demon List editors were completely being an asshole about me not wanting to do a progress video on a level I haven't played for over a year, I still did a favor by uploading those videos. I mean, I'm not forced to do anything or care about the Demon List. I couldn't even give two shits about your unofficial Demon List. But my response videos with progress on Devil Vortex matter a lot in this case, because this was literally the only thing you guys asked me to do, because you personally thought that I wasn't capable of doing the level at all. And I proved you wrong. Yes, I didn't stream it, but I don't have to, because if you actually want me to stream it, I would like to know if there's anything wrong with my progress videos, because there isn't. You're using the argument that it has been over a year and it doesn't matter how skilled I am at Devil Vortex right now, but that it matters that I completed it back then. Then why was I asked to upload progress videos, to stream it, to show anything that could potentially show that I'm legit? You're pretty much contradicting your friend on something he and multiple other Demon List editors asked me to do. So I wasted my time to prove I'm legit because of something you guys asked me to do, and then you continue still disagreeing with my uploads and completely ignore what you guys said before. And additionally, I want to say that there's no way I've improved in general, since I've done Devil Vortex as one of my hardest achievements, because the last Extreme Demon I've done was literally 4 to 5 months ago. I personally took a break from Extreme Demons a few months ago, so I could still enjoy other levels as well. I mean, at this point, if you guys just don't keep your word and ignore everything I provide, I see no reason to further prove that I'm legit.
Next thing we are going to be talking about is saws in Devil Vortex. I know Nepesta has beaten this point to death, but it's important to reinstate. The fact that there are 54 random saws up there for no reason is odd, as they cannot be used for any creating purposes. There are closer saws of the same type in the level, and there are more than one type of saw.
Of course, the objects at the top had no creating purposes. The only purpose they had was being part of buffing the level and nothing more. The level was verified during modifying the level. If you're gonna call me out for using saws at the top of the level, you can start accuse Rustam of having saws at the bottom of the level as well, because you're not making sense. I already explained this previously, so let's carry on.
Before, Nepesta was not able to provide where Tosh semi-autoed the level. Now though, we have an explanation. If you count all the autoable timings in the 30% ball, besides the last spam, you get 11 objects needed. The reason he didn't want to auto the last spam is so he could show himself getting far before he beat the level. This is proven by the fact that he didn't start the video on the attempt he beat it, or even the attempt before it, but several attempts back, when he was at the last spam with that ball. It wasn't autoed as people would see the same movements and realize it was semi-autoed. I'm also not including yellow orbs, as there is no way to auto those successfully. There are no paths that provide the same height as yellow orbs. So that leaves us with 11 autoable clicks in that ball. If you add that together with the spam at 54, which is 16, the following wave, which is 15, and the last wave without the last spam, which is 12, you get exactly 54. This is all the hardest parts in the level. Everything lines up.
Basically what you did here, and what you also did in your previous video, is talk about what the objects stand for from your perspective. The difference is that this time you actually showed what you meant with 54 objects. It still doesn't justify your main point, because you're saying it's semi-autoed, but 54 objects doesn't add up at all. What you pretty much did in the screenshots was that you kept adding jump pads to your own calculation until it came up to 54 objects. How could you precisely know where I could have placed any of the objects if that was the case? Thanks to someone on Twitter, I managed to test this out myself as well, and I noticed that you need around 74 and 75 jump pads to make the semi-auto, if you ignore the first wave of course, because that's what you said. I counted all the wave sections myself as well, and none of them in any way can subtract to 54. If you count every section in any possible calculation, it never comes down to 54 objects like you said, but in your screenshots you keep adding jump pads to each section of the level until you come up to 54, which is manipulating. Like, here's an example. Let's say you used 10 jump pads to semi-auto a section in a level, and I can't know that of course. and you have 42 objects at the top of the level for no specific reason, as you may say. I start accusing you of semi-autoing the level, and I can still say that you used 42 jump pads in the level by virtually marking down spots in the level that are possible to auto till I come up to 42. That's why your argument is invalid and it cannot be used in this context. And also, if you wanted to semi-auto a level, you would still need an alpha trigger to make them invisible or add additional alpha triggers, and that counts as objects too. You obviously didn't mention that in your video since you didn't think of it, but which makes your 54 count of objects invalid as well.
But it gets more interesting when we look at unnerved paracosm circles. Up at the top of the level, we see 45 random generic blocks, once again, with no purpose. Unlike Devil Vortex, these are not special objects of any kind. We've checked all unnerved paracosm circles copies we could find, and none of them besides Tosh's had those 45 blocks sitting at the top of a level, meaning Tosh added them himself. Why would he do that?
Alright, unnerved paracosm circles. I want to start off saying how this level was literally verified in front of over 150 people on my Twitch livestream, and I was in the call with multiple people at the same time. You can even hear that at the end of the video. And you may say that people being in the call doesn't mean anything, and that's correct, but this was live streamed as well. So I don't understand how you expect me to semi-auto this level on a live stream with people watching me beat it and upload it to my account. Even the 90% fail at the start of the video was live streamed, and all the progress before that as well. On top of that, I uploaded my first unnerved paracosm circles progress video with high detail mode, which was 78% on my channel, and that was 2 days ago, and that was 2 days before I completed the whole level. So I beat it in 2 days after getting 78%. People beat demons on low detail mode because it actually helps regularly. It doesn't fucking mean that people are autoing all the time. If you actually paid attention to the description of that video, you could have noticed how I mentioned in the description. In the version I verified, I added some extra saw blades to prevent people from using secret ways. This hasn't changed the gameplay whatsoever. Have fun attempting. So this also means that adding those extra saw blades adds more objects to the level itself. You can compare my video with another copy and notice the saw changes. At the end of my video you can see me showing my attempts of the copy I completed and additional copies I used to practice, but those have a different object count, and that's because the other copies didn't have the saw blades I applied. The blocks at the top is literally me playing with the editor. It has nothing to do with Devil Vortex whatsoever. It has no relevance to the objects that were used at the top of Devil Vortex because those have a whole different purpose. The objects at the top had nothing to do with buffing the level, but you're comparing these two demon videos in an attempt to make it look worse. I love how you said it in an ironic way, as if this was 100% evidence to use against me. You still have no evidence of me hacking, autoing, or cutting anything in any of the levels mentioned in your video. As I said before, you guys always stand behind assumptions and consider those as facts in order to expose someone, but you're not exposing anything. It's an assumption video, and it doesn't matter if you say it at the start of the video. The title of the video is called exposing, but you're not exposing anything. I used this argument before, but it doesn't matter what the hell I do with a level in the editor, as long as you don't have solid proof of me hacking, semi-autoing, or cutting a level without anyone's notice. You're not exposing jack shit. Some people supposedly talk about how I could have hidden the evidence better, but I wasn't trying to hide anything. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. But as I said before, you're accusing me by making an assumption, and I can prove myself if you're making an assumption to call me out for being unlegit. I'm also pretty sure none of you actually were watching my livestream back then, so I'm assuming you guys like to completely ignore when someone has livestreamed their achievement, because apparently if you guys didn't watch it, it never happened, and that's basically your logic. And no, you don't need 45 objects to auto the level at all. You're immediately assuming that nobody's going to do the calculation themselves, so you're trying to make it sound convincing. I can carry on talking about what you're saying wrong, but all the arguments you're using are assumptions that you believe is right. Literally nothing in your video is evidence. I was honestly hoping for some evidence I can reply to at least, but honestly, I've been watching the video, and all I've seen are assumptions that you guys have came up with and considered as facts. If you actually believe there was something wrong with my videos, you would be searching the majority of my demon achievements to try and look for actual hacking, auto, or cutting footage. The demon list team called me out for speed hacking, but the video got taken down only minutes later because you guys realized how ridiculous it was. You guys also wanted to use my first Cataclysm completion video as evidence that it was autoed, but you guys also took that out from the final video because you realized it's invalid. I got called out for cutting in Devil Vortex, but if you pay attention to all of the rotating objects in the background, you can notice that none of the lag spikes were cuts in the verification, since they were all rotating the same way before and after the lag spike. So this argument was disproved as well. You guys realized you have nothing against me, so you started searching through the majority of my old videos and literally put all of the things that supposedly look suspicious into one video to make it look so bad. That's actually pathetic. Even if you put a disclaimer talking about how you guys are going to keep this as professional as possible, it doesn't make it any better. The majority of all of you have been annoying fucks on Twitter, even harassing me. You guys even made a Discord server to mock me blocking the majority of you. And if I include any screenshots from the Discord chat, people would see what kind of assholes you guys are in the first place. Of course, this doesn't appeal to everyone that participated in the video, but it shows why a portion of the team is participating in the video. It obviously shows biased behavior, even if you say you have no other intention than only exposing.
There's a couple more things we want to say about Devil Vortex and his skill in general. Firstly, we like to point out that he claims to have beaten Bloodbath in around 7,000 attempts, which would make him at the moment the best player in the world. This is supported by the claim that he beat Devil Vortex in 5,000 attempts. But if you look at his other accomplishments, it just doesn't line up. If that's how long it took him to beat Bloodbath and Devil Vortex, 5,000 attempts to beat Breakout and Artificial Ideology, both of which he beat after Devil Vortex, seems like a lot. This isn't an insult to his skill, this is a demonstration on how inconsistent his skill is.
I'm actually kinda disappointed in this video for even mentioning the amount of attempts I spent on demon levels, because that has absolutely nothing to do with if I'm legit or not. 7.8k attempts is a reasonable amount of attempts for Bloodbath. You obviously don't know how good I am at the game, and that's understandable, but you're using the argument that I beat Devil Vortex in 5.7k attempts. But this is a completely manipulating comparison. Devil Vortex is only a medium-sized level. The level only takes a minute to complete, and you're comparing it to an extra long Extreme Demon, which used to be really hard back then. The number one demon, if I'm specific, the date between when I uploaded Bloodbath and Devil Vortex is noticeable. I obviously got better in the time I beat Bloodbath, and you guys constantly keep thinking that Bloodbath was my hardest demon before I did Devil Vortex. No, that's incorrect. This just shows that none of you know anything about my demon achievements. And Pesta even modified this description from Bloodbath being my hardest demon to Suck Up in Hell when he made a video about me. Which is quite funny actually, because he realized his mistake or someone notified him to change it. For instance, a demon level can have more annoying gameplay during the whole level than a demon level with just a section of garbage gameplay, which causes you to die more at a certain part, so equally wasting more attempts. You can get 90% on an extreme demon level and just spend just over 1k attempts, but it also means that there's a possibility that you're gonna beat it after 10k attempts, even though you got 90 which is over 1k. This whole section talking about my attempts is just unnecessary and a filler to boost the previous points mentioned in the video. It has nothing to do with inconsistent skill, it's just how the game works, dude.
Yet another thing I'd like to talk about. Some of you who've been around for long enough might know about ToshDeluxe challenge, a challenge Tosh verified a very long time ago. It was basically 70 to 100 on Acropolis, but very buffed. Here you can see Gabs DMing with someone we decided not to mention, as we do not want to get them involved in this situation. You might want to take a look at the screenshots Gabs sent, which were taken at 2 key points of the video, before and after what Tosh claimed to be a lag spike. As you can see by looking at the square, the wave trail isn't at the same place after the lag spike as it was before it. The person we censored told Tosh, who then took the video down, but we still have these DMs to back up the evidence.
So you're going back to our time where I verified an easy challenge I uploaded back in 2016. Alright, what the issue is here for using this in your video is that it seems like you haven't read the description. But I mean, I can't blame you too much on this one since the video got unlisted like almost a year ago. And you probably forgot what it said, or you never read it, I assume. And no, this didn't get unlisted after you were asking people about it. This got unlisted back in the time when I unlisted a bunch of my videos I wasn't satisfied with the main purpose not wanting those videos on my channel anymore. Of course, I never deleted the video, but I never understood why you called me out for cutting the challenge, because in our old DMs, I remember you said that the verification I did on the challenge never happened since this was a cut. According to you. I even told you that the verification was done legit, but that the recording was not, because I re-recorded footage into 2 parts so I could upload it to my channel. This is what it said in the description. Sorry for the cut halfway the level. I beat this on stream, but the stream quality was too shit, so I made 2 recordings into 1. Was streaming with crap internet like usual. Made this for entertainment purposes and to test your actual wave skills in game. I used to be garbage back in 2016, and so of course I was going to repeat it. This was also back in the time when I played on 50 Hz, so levels were a lot harder than they are now for me. But then again, this was something that was done on livestream, and yes, using the livestream argument isn't always as relevant as it should be, but in this case, I did livestream this level, and I did livestream Paracosm Circles, but none of you actually ever participated in my livestreams, and you keep pretending like you know jack shit.
Now, here's the thing I would like to talk about. As you may know, Tosh used the FPS bypass for his second to last proof video. The thing here is that Tosh didn't mention using the bypass at first, and we ended up noticing it ourselves. You might think that this doesn't really matter because he got 82% without a bypass a couple days later, but like that's not really the point I'm trying to make here. Once we told Tosh that we knew about this, he went to playing volleyball again, and he reached 82% on 144Hz without using the bypass. So, as you can see in the description of the video, he did confirm that he used the bypass in the previous one. But what I'm trying to point out here is the way he was worded. He didn't mention using it, but he managed to cover it by trying to make us look like the bad ones in the story. He used the bypass in the first video, and even if he ended up beating his bypass record a couple days later on 144Hz, he still hit the truth in the first place and did not mention the fact that he used it, even though he knows he should have mentioned it.
Of course I didn't mention it in the description. Do you honestly think that I still care about mentioning the bypass or not? Because I mean, you guys already banned me off the unofficial garbage list. But my main point is that I'm using the FPS bypass on levels regularly. I use the bypass on the majority of my videos of the last few months, and I never mentioned it in the description, because I don't have to. I used to care about it back then, so I wrote in the description, but now I don't have to anymore, and I'm glad. None of you ever told me that I have to play without bypass or anything. Once I realized you guys are actually triggered about me using the bypass on the progress video, yeah, of course I'm going to re-upload the same progress, but without a bypass. You never told me anything at all. What's quite funny is that when I attempted to play without the bypass, I actually got 82% right away, even though I was originally aiming for 55 again, just like the first video. Additionally, I also added a practice mode run into the video, just in case it wasn't enough. And yes, I was right. It wasn't enough because you guys obviously couldn't admit the fact that you were wrong. You guys couldn't simply just acknowledge the fact that I'm capable of doing this level. And I haven't done an Extreme Demon in months. And yes, you guys are the bad ones. What you guys literally said was, all you have to do is get far into the level and this will be over. You should be glad that I even did a favor for uploading the video without the bypass and with the bypass. It even shows I'm doing better without the bypass. This whole section about you talking about me using the bypass is just a way to reply to what I said in the description, because you guys are obviously mad about it. You didn't get banned for mentioning anything on my comment section. I banned every single Demon List member that's part of the drama for my channel because of biased behavior. If you have something to say regarding the video, you can always DM me on Discord. That's what I also said in my previous video, but obviously none of you actually listened so far because you don't care about resolving the issue. You care about people seeing your comment and provoking the situation.
One last thing we'd like to point out. In Tosh's old Devil Vortex video, you can see that Tosh used a macro to do the spam at 54. This is supported by the evidence that the height of the waves are at the same pixel on every click. Not only that, but you can see that he reactivates the macro at the end of the level. As you can see, these wave movements at the end and these wave movements at 54 are the exact same, leading us to the conclusion that he used the macro.
I don't understand why you would accuse me of macroing this level. I don't even see the purpose of macroing this one. That's not what evidence is. I usually do spam parts with my left hand using spacebar in order to spam incredibly fast. This is supported by the fact that I've been doing spamming and jitter clicking on my videos for years now, and the majority of my subscribers know this. Even if you've been following me back in the old days, I've been obviously doing unnecessary jitter clicking in levels for a long time now. The spam part you seem to call a macro couldn't even be a macro. A macro would never be as consistent as you say it is. So your calculation is incorrect in the first place, because you don't even seem to know how macros work in general. Here's a footage of me using my Logitech G502 mouse macro on an easy level. I uploaded this video on my channel 2 months ago, so you can't say that I only made it for this video. And in the footage you can see me use the macro in the wave spam part. Me using the macro is supported by the fact that I wrote in the description that the wave part was done for the memes. So I obviously notified people that I won't be doing this regularly, and of course this wouldn't be done on demon levels at all. You can see how inconsistent the wave is by using the macro. This would never be as pixel perfect as you say it was. You don't even have to spam the part at 55 in old Devil Vortex in order to pass it. In fact, it only makes it harder. If you manage to control to consistently spam in a certain way, you will have that one lucky attempt where you will have similar wave movements. It's just how it is. You may call bullshit on luck, but that's pretty much what it is, and you can't avoid it. Honestly, the arguments used in your video and the calculations about why this never could be luck is pure bullshit. You came up with an explanation why this could never be luck, so I couldn't defend myself, but it doesn't work that way. It has nothing to do with macroing. You also don't have any evidence of me using a macro for this. The only thing you use in your argument is how I repeated a certain wave movement twice. And yes, there's nothing wrong with that. You obviously don't know how this game works, or you're just being ignorant about the fact that this is easily possible in the game. And it happens quite often to other people too. So guys, these are all the points mentioned in the video I wanted to reply to. I find it quite funny how multiple people uploaded the exposal video to pretend like I'm fucking Noctafly, but please don't even try. Noctafly never admitted to anything until we had 100% evidence to use against him. We found multiple cuts in his Cataclysm and Devil Vortex videos and other videos as well, and that's literally the only reason he had to give up and confess. Multiple people uploading the expose also didn't change jack shit. People pretend like it's supposed to end my YouTube channel, but in fact it only gave me subscribers according to my Social Blade page. I want to thank everyone for standing by and waiting for my uploads, and after this video gets up, I'll make sure I get back to regular uploading again, because a lot of people have been DMing me on Discord where I've been. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.